Good morning, children, and welcome to the social science class. This is class 6th, chapter number 5 of history. What books and burials tell us. The name of the chapter it is, and today we are going to do the summary of the chapter. As this chapter we have already covered in different lectures, today we are going to recapitulate all those topics that we have covered in different lectures. So let's see the topics that we will cover. The topics that we will cover are Vedas, topics for prayers, reasons of battles, Rigvedic people. Basically in this chapter we are talking about Rigvedic period. So what type of people were living in Rigvedic period, how they were the different type of people living in society, megaliths, features of burials, social differences, Inamgaon site, in which we will talk about the burial system of Inamgaon as well as the occupation of the people of Inamgaon, skeleton study, Charak Samhita. These topics we have already covered, as I told you, in different lectures. Today we will going to be recapitulate all these topics again. See the first topic, Vedas. The Vedas, basically these are the religious book of Hindus. There are 4 Vedas: Rig Veda, Sham Veda, Yajur Veda, Atharva Veda. So these are the names of 4 Vedas. Now here in this chapter we are going to talk about Rig Veda, the oldest Veda. So the oldest Veda, Rig Veda, it was composed about 3500 years ago, and it has more than 1000 hymns. These hymns means well said, means the saying of the people, or the people, those were the learned people at that time. They were known as Suktas also. So the Rig Veda, the oldest Veda, it has more than 1000 hymns. These hymns were composed by sages or rishis. The composition of the hymns that was done by rishis, and Rig Veda is written in Vedic Sanskrit. This Vedic Sanskrit is little different from the Sanskrit that you study in your schools. Rig Veda was firstly recited and heard rather than read. Means the printed form was not there of Rig Veda in starting. It generation to generation it was just recited and heard from the learned people, from the rishis or the sages. It was printed nearly 200 years ago. So the Rig Veda in starting it was just recited and heard rather than read, because the printed form was not available. Earliest printed text of Rig Veda is preserved in a library in Pune, Maharashtra, and the earliest printed form, when it was printed, the earliest form of that print that is preserved in library of Pune in Maharashtra. And the one of more example it is given there, that the manuscript of Rig Veda it was found there in Kashmir, and that manuscript it was written on the barks of birch tree. So birch bark it was written and it was found there in Kashmir. As manuscript means handwritten text. So that was found there in Kashmir. Now the languages that we are speaking and the languages spoken in different parts of the world, they are under different language families. Here we will talk about some of the language families, like first Indo-European. It has languages like Assamese, Gujarati, Hindi, Kashmiri, Sanskrit, Sindhi, and some other languages such as English, French, German, Greek, Italian, Spanish. So these all languages they come under the language family Indo-European. If we talk about the other families like Dravidian family, Tamil, Telugu, Kannada and Malayalam, the languages spoken in South India, they belong to Dravidian family. So here if anyone asks you name the languages that come, they are in Dravidian family, so you can write Tamil, Telugu, Kannada and Malayalam. Languages spoken in Jharkhand and parts of central India belong to Austroasiatic family. One of the language family, Austroasiatic family, it has the languages of central India and language spoken there in Jharkhand. So this is all about the language families. Some of the language families given here: Indo-European, Dravidian family, Austroasiatic family. Okay. The next thing is topics for prayer. There, as prayer, you know everyone that we worship our gods. So at that time also the people, they were doing the prayers to their deities, to their gods. So what were the topics for that? Basically in Rigvedic period, the people, they were doing the prayers for cattle as they were valuable for them, for children, especially sons. So there was it is shown there was also discrimination that they were giving more value to the sons than daughters. So especially for sons the prayers were made, for horses, because those horses they were using in chariots at the time of battles. So these were the topics of prayers. For cattle they were doing, for children, for horses. The next thing is reasons for battles. As there were no regular armies with the people, there were no rulers. So the battles basically they were fought by mostly all the men, they were participating there in the battles. So what type of reasons were there? Why were they fighting battles? People fought to capture cattle as they were valuable for them. They were giving different things to them. They fought to capture land which was important for growing crops. Obviously, as they were growing different crops, so that was important for them to have a good land for growing crops. So they fought battles to capture lands which were important for growing crops. They fought for water and to capture people, even for water sources and even for people. People and the people those were captured there in the battles, they worked as slaves or das under the people who captured them. So these were the different reasons why the people of Rigvedic period they were fighting battles. There were no regular army, that as I told you, the armies they were not having. Most of the men took part in wars. Whatever the wars or the battles were they were having at the time, so most of the men they took part in those wars. Matters of wars and peace were discussed in assemblies, and whatever the matters they were having about the peace and war, they discussed all those in assemblies. And in assemblies basically the leaders they were having, the leaders they chose, those were the brave or the warriors people. The brave people basically they chose as their leaders, and all the things, all the matters related to the battle they discussed there in those assemblies. Now Rigvedic people, as we talked that in Rigvedic time two groups of people were described on the basis of their work. Two types of people were there on the basis of work they were doing. One was priest, they were known as Brahmins also, performed various rituals or sacrifices, yajnas. So these rituals they were performing, and rest were rajas. So these two groups they are on the basis of the work they were doing. Then Jana and Vish were the words used to describe community as whole, means the complete community, group of people. They were described as Jan or Vish. Example of Jana, there are Purujana, Bharatjana and Yadujana. These are the examples given for Janas. Now as I told you, slaves, the people those were captured there in the battles, they were known as slaves. So slaves were men and women who were captured in the wars. And one more word is described there in the chapter, they were Aryas. And Aryas, the word given to the people, those were composing the Vedas. That word was used for them. And slaves, men and women, those were captured in the war. So this is all about the Rigvedic people. Now, megaliths. As we have completed with the book Rigveda and what the evidences were found, now megaliths, that is related to burial sites. What is megalith? Stone boulders were known as megaliths. Boulders means big stones. So megaliths were the big stones basically. They were used to mark burial sites. Burial sites were the places where the dead bodies were buried under the ground. So to mark the burial sites, these megaliths were used. The practice of erecting megaliths began around 3000 years ago. Means this megalith practice that they started using, that began around 3000 years ago. They were mostly found in Deccan, Northeast and Kashmir. Deccan part means south part of India, northeast part and Kashmir. This practice of megalith, it was mostly found. So let's see the picture. Here you can see the big stones there, those are marked there, and the burial site where the dead bodies were buried. So these megaliths, they were used to mark that burial site. The big stones you can see there. Now, features of burial site means common feature that was found by the archaeologist. First thing, dead were buried with pots which were called black and red ware. The pots that was found with the dead bodies there, and it was the name of that pot was black and red ware. Tools and weapons were also found with them. With the dead bodies, archaeologists found the tools and weapons. Skeletons of horses and horse equipments were found with human skeleton. One of the strange things that archaeologists found, even the horses and horse equipment were also found with the skeletons. And ornaments were also present with dead bodies. As earlier, the people they used to wear ornaments. Even men were wearing different ornaments like in ears or the garland there in the neck. So the ornaments were also found with the dead bodies. These were the common feature that archaeologists found about the burial sites. See, these are the pictures of some equipments. Those were found with the dead bodies or with the skeleton. Iron equipment found from megalith burial. Left top, horse equipment. With horse it is used to put the step on the horse. Left below axis and then dagger. So these were some of the equipment, those were found there in megalith sites or the burial sites. Social differences. Here it refers to the people living in Rigvedic period. There was the social differences, means some of the people were rich and some were poor. How they defined that? On the basis of objects found with dead bodies, archaeologists came to know about social differences. And one of the example it is shown there also, that one of the skeleton found with 33 gold beads, 2 stone beads, 4 copper bangles in Brahmagiri. Brahmagiri, the place in South India. So, by looking that all these valuable things with the skeleton, archaeologists thought that the person might be belonged to the rich family. On the other hand, one skeleton was found with few pots, or when they studied the other skeleton, one of the skeleton was found with the few common pots. So in this way we can really came to know that the social differences were present there in society of Rigvedic period. The next is family burial. This example also the archaeologist found that at one of the burial site different skeletons they found, and they assumed that burial site might be one family members were using the single burial site. So the family burial, how they came to know? Archaeologists found more than one skeleton in one burial. The bodies of those who died later were brought into the grave through portholes. There on the burial sites of family burial, portholes were found, and through those portholes the dead body that was carried into the grave. Some stone boulders were placed on the surface as signpost, means for clue, sign, the some of the boulders they were placed so that they could identify the site or the burial site of the family. So by these clues they came to know that the people were using one's burial site for different family members. Now the site of Inamgaon. It is situated on the river Khot, that is tributary of Bhima river, and Bhima river is tributary of Krishna river. And tributary means the smaller river that flows into the bigger river, so that smaller river is tributary of the bigger river. So Ghod is the tributary of Bhima river. Adults, now we are talking about the burial system. What type of burial system the archaeologists found? Adults were buried in straight position with the head towards the north. One of the example that they found. Some burials were found in the houses even. Inside the houses itself, some of the burial sites the archaeologists found. Vessels were kept with the dead bodies. That was the common feature also, that the pots were kept there. Next is, one skeleton was found in courtyard of a house. Even in the courtyard, one of the skeleton was found there in Inamgaon, and they had seen that house was the biggest one in that particular place with 4 to 5 rooms, and the dead body was placed in cross-legged position there. By looking there, they came to know that might be the person was the head of the family, and that's why he was buried there in the courtyard. He was buried in the jar, 4-legged jar there in the courtyard. So they assumed that the person might be belonged to that family, was the head of the family. So this is the burial system of Inamgaon. Now, occupation of Inamgaon means what type of work the people were doing at Inamgaon. Evidences of wheat, barley, rice, pulses, peas, millet were found. Means these type of crops, they were growing and they were eating barley, wheat, rice, pulses, peas, millet. These type of crops they were eating. Bones of different animals like cattle, buffalo, goat, sheep, dog, horse, etc. were also found, by which archaeologists came to know that they were rearing or they were having the herds of these animals. Evidences of fruits like ber, amla, jamun, dates were also found. It means they were also growing these type of plants for the fruits. So this is all about the different work they were doing. They were rearing the animals, they were growing different type of crops. So the occupation of Inam Gaon. Now skeleton study. There was no major difference. Actually here skeleton study means that when they got the different skeleton, so they were confused that how they came to know that which skeleton belonged to men or women. So there was no major difference in a girl or a boy skeleton. And to identify women and men skeleton, archaeologists thought to differentiate between men and women by the jewelry kept with the skeleton. But later on that idea was also dropped, because earlier men were also wearing ornaments, as we talked. So they studied that with the help of bones, as the pelvic area of women that is larger than men. So by that they came to know that which skeleton belonged to a man or woman. So this was the skeleton study. Now Charak Samhita. Charak Samhita is a book that is written on the medicines. A famous physician wrote a book on medicine. The book name is Charak Samhita, and that book, it was written on medicines by Charak. That's why its name is Charak Samhita. He states that the human body has 360 bones. That is really much larger number than 206 that actually we have, because he included teeth, joints and cartilage. So teeth, joint, cartilage, he also included all these things. That's why the number that became 360. So he states that human body has 360 bones. So the famous physician Charak, who wrote Charak Samhita, the book on medicine. Writing in China. As in every chapter in elsewhere, we study about the happenings in the world during that particular time. So here when we talk about Rig Veda near about 3500 years ago, so there in China, archaeologists found evidences of writing in China around 3500 years ago. What type of writings? The writings were written on animal bones called oracle bone. Basically the name given there because these oracle bones were used to predict the future. The fortunators, they were predicting the future of kings or rulers. And what was the procedure? They were writing something there on the bones and they put them there in the fire. And in fire the cracks were there on of those bones, and they read those cracks there, and they found the future of the kings. And basically what type of future they were telling? That about the victories of the particular ruler in future, about the birth of his son. So these type of the future they were telling to please the rulers, to make them happy basically. So this was all about the writing in China. They were writing on the animal's bones. They were known as oracle bones. So that's it in the chapter. We have again revised the chapter. I hope that you now everything is clear to you. Now homework. Fill in the blanks correctly. The Rig Veda has been written in dash. Inam Gaon is situated on the river dash. The Rig Veda was composed about dash years ago. Dash is part of a family of languages known as Indo-European. Then the major gods praised in the hymns of the Rig Veda. There are basically three gods were the main, those were praised. They are in the hymns of Rig Veda. They were Indra, Agni, Soma. So the names you will write here. The dead were buried with distinctive pots which were called dash and dash where. Second is answer the following questions. Which is the oldest Veda among the four Vedas? In which language Rig Veda was written? As per Rig Veda, why battles were fought? What are megaliths? Where was the page from a manuscript of the Rig Veda found? As I told you that one of the manuscript that was found in Kashmir. Why yajnas or sacrifices were performed? Which language belonged to the Dravidian family? Here you in practice you can write all the four languages of Dravidian family, but in whenever any question there it is asked, so mention whatever the language are asked there in the question, the same one. So that's it for today's lecture. Thank you and have a nice day.